himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on, so Nuoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani not very far apart at all here, but I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the down pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order, but Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah, and it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. The Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
Oh, they're going to toss it. They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry. Good evening and welcome back to the LSRL GT3 Season 2 Round 1 from Brands Hatch GP Circuit. I'm James Parfitt. I'm going to be joined in the booth for this season by Michael David, is going to be coming along and joining me, but it is the return of the LSRL GT3, and what more can we ask for than a mixture of Porsches, Audis, BMWs, Ferraris, Lamborghinis and Mercedes hurtling around this very famous circuit in the UK. Current track length 3.89 kilometers, and one that's going to be absolutely amazing. Now, just a quick update on rules. There has been some rule changes this season from this league. Okay, so we are going to try and bring you up to date with the rules from this league. It has been a very interesting rule changes, one that I think that some people will like, some people will not like. And the first major change to the season will be the grid will be inverted from their qualifying positions. Okay, so if you're in first place in qualifying, you start at the back. Now, what they have come out and said is, if you are found to be sandbagging or purposely messing up your lap, you will be punished. What they have said is qualifying first will get you 3 points, qualifying second will get you 2, and qualifying third will get you 1, but you will end up at the back of the grid. Okay, so you will end up at the back of the grid. That is one of the first major rule changes here as well. The other ones are involving in the penalty system itself has been rejuvenated and has been changed also, but that alone there is going to be leading into some interesting things here in qualifying as well. Nick Show, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us. Michael David, let's bring him into the booth. How are you, sir? I'm not bad at all, young man. Thank you very much for asking. Major rule change. The fact that if you qualify first, you get points, but you end up at the back of the grid. it definitely will. It's not that I'm not a fan of it. I don't know. Look, to be honest with you, I'm very much on the understanding that we probably didn't need it. You know, they bring it to the table, but yet we didn't need another Porsche at the end of the day. It was something that basically was giving to us, that another requirement of something we don't need. And I think that's the thing. I think for a lot of these drivers, it's not an essential thing, like, you know, or an LMP3. I think it's just people were maybe hoping for the introduction that we were going to see this rain that they were promising, and you know, that like that. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm not going to be a fan of it. I haven't even purchased the car as of yet, and to be honest, I don't know if I'm going to, but I just feel it's probably something that didn't need updating, should we say. Can I put it that way and be nice about it rather than not being nice? I can see what it's done. It's okay. I've managed to resolve it. I can see what it's done. It's been playing silly rascals. But yeah, I don't know. People will tell me that the Porsche was needed. People will tell me it isn't needed. What do you think out in chat? Do we think we needed another Porsche, or do we think that we don't need another Porsche? Conway, give it a minute. It will settle down. Hopefully you should be able to start hearing Michael, and then you'll be able to hear him as well. It has been playing a little bit of a silly biddly there as well. So, but look, we've got it. People are making the best of it, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, very, very, very limited amount of track time with it, but I feel like the upgrade has been kind of awesome. I feel like the car is able to, it's a lot cleaner to define the edge on it so far that I've found. Like I said, not very much seat time, but it just feels comfortable to me. That being said, we are about to see our first rendition of this new qualifying grid flip situation here that we got. So it's going to be exciting, but I really do think, I mean, with points on offer, I think there's no reason not to just kind of go all out if you can and try to get to the back of the field, obviously, but get that pole position.
Yeah, I think they've got to try and get the pole. It would be great if they can, of course. It's a really difficult one because I understand why they've done it, and I get why they've done it, but it does unfortunately lead itself to obviously people purposely going out and not setting their fastest lap time. Now obviously if we see somebody who is, should we say, that should be at the front of the grid all of a sudden be at the back of the grid, then we know something's wrong, right? Because obviously at the end of the day they've been clearly not doing their best lap time, and at the end of the day it will get found out. But I do get the purpose of it, but it does lend itself to somewhat questionable tactics from people that might not necessarily need to do them, should we say.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I think that since this is a new system, there's always going to be room for tweaks. We can't really pass any judgment until we get an actual qualifying session in, as we see a couple cars having some issues here early at Brands Hatch. Turn 1 at Brands Hatch has always been a doozy. It just comes up to the top of the hill and it just falls away from you. It's such a fun turn, but it can just throws understeer at your car just constantly. So it's a tough one. But I love Brands Hatch. I love driving GT3 cars here. It just feels like you're on a roller coaster. I love this car track combination. And honestly, I really wish I had gotten some the opportunity to drive that new Porsche here at Brands Hatch before the race this evening.
Yeah, well, it's going to be exciting. We will know more of the track layouts for the season because obviously, was James Rett in that? Ouch! In the Porsche, does that. We've got Yiling Huang just got across the line. I think he's just done his fastest lap on the qualifying at moment 1:21.972. So we'll have to see how this one pans out. But I think at the end of the day that he's gone and stacked it as well, mind you. I think the system should work. I think it will bring closer racing. I'm a little bit worried about the slower guys being at the front, and that's not any disrespect to them. I think it's just tough when you're not used to being at the front of the grid. It could possibly cause a little bit of chaos. I'm hoping it don't. I'm just saying, I'm hoping it don't. But it could do because of the fact that obviously slower people are not used to being at the front.
Yeah, no, it can definitely cause some slight frustrations to quite a few drivers if you're not used to being at the front, and now all of a sudden you got an extremely fast driver, bearing down on you. You got to learn how to defend cleanly. It becomes a challenge, that's for sure, but I think it levels the playing field quite a bit, and I'm excited to see it. I really do think that it's going to bring some exciting racing in the midfield. You're going to see some very fast drivers having to split the entire field, so it's going to be an extra challenge for them, and then it gives the let's say less experienced drivers that opportunity to learn. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, definitely is. We've got LSRL back this season, the defending champion, of course, is in the Audi this season. If I remember correctly, he was in the Lamborghini. He is now in the Audi. He was in with the Smart Gonasborg boys of Jay Smart, who is also in here as well. He is in the Porsche, mind you, is Jay Smart this time around. So we'll see how qualifying unfolds. Who will get the first pole position of the season? Who will get the first points of the season? And at the moment, Yiling Huang is on a 1:21.97, setting the pace with Nathan Graham, who's back in the Audi, of course, here as well. Matt Miller is also on track in the BMW. Peter Muller is back in the new Porsche. Joseph Kahn's in the Porsche. John Silver is back. He is in the Ferrari. Troy Banks as well. We do have a little bit of Troy. He is naturally quick and then would, pull out, wouldn't he, really, Michael, last season?
Well, I'm hoping that this season he'll run a full season and actually get involved a little bit. He's definitely got the pace to be up front. So
yeah, definitely. And then we've got Sean Atkins in the Porsche on track. Ben Barnes in the Porsche. Daniel Ricci in the Black Gold Racing BMW. Brandon Thornhill in the BMW. Brandon Murray is in the Ferrari Lightning McQueen livery. Love it. Dylan Gonaz is in the BMW, and Brandon Birmingham is in the Porsche. Now, we don't think this is everybody in the league. There will be more drivers coming on, but we do have 20 drivers on track here at the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. So let's see how they all get on. And at the moment, it's looking like Brandon Thornhill could possibly be on that pole position spot, which is going to be interesting for him.
yeah, this is definitely going to be an interesting race. It's hard to overtake here in certain spots. Obviously, you got that back straightaway, but it's not the easiest track to overtake at because there's a lot of undulation. There's a lot of blind turns, kind of off-camber turns. Quite a few off-camber turns here. So it's tough to get too wide in certain places. So you really got to pick and choose where you're going to overtake. So if you do get that pole position, you're starting at the very back of the field. It's gonna be tough. You have to pick and choose where you can make those overtakes, and with field spread, it's gonna be a challenge tonight. So I think if you're Yiling Huang, obviously you want to do the best you can. He's got 4/10 up on Nathan Graham here, but it's definitely gonna be a challenge.
Yeah, it definitely is, and one that we're going to get a 7 minutes remaining here this evening of qualifying, and currently Wing Wang is in first, Nathan Graham second, Elliot third, Matt Miller fourth, Jay Smart fifth, and Peter Muller, who is in sixth place from LMA. He is back in the Porsche here, and hopefully Peter will be staying for the season. I know he damaged his hand, if I'm not mistaken, last season. I didn't do the season.
Broke his wrist or something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, if I remember correctly. It's kind of important, your hands when you're driving. So
If you want to go fast, it's probably a good idea to have a working hand.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think it would probably help in general. Times are on the bottom of the board. Matt Miller's got some greens currently in this BMW as well. And it looks like somebody has just been off. Elliot Borg and James Rep look like they're both taking a little bit of a diver off track at this moment in time. But Matt Miller here, let's see what he's going to be able to do. He's got another yellow, unfortunately, which means they are not improving on his time, guys. 6 minutes remaining, and he bails out and goes into the pits. Elliot Borg on track in the Audi. I'll be interested to see what Elliot does this time around as well in the Audi. We saw him in the Lamborghini last season, so the fact that he's in the Audi, that's going to be a big change for him, I think. The rear end of the Audi isn't always stable and can miraculously do Audi things, just like the Porsche does Porsche things. So I think coming from the Lambo to the Audi, it's going to be a big jump.
Yeah, the Lamborghini is a much more stable platform. The Audi, very nimble. I feel like the Lamborghini definitely has a little more grunt coming out of the corners, but it's just a completely different driving style. Even though they're both mid-engine cars, it's very different in the driving style between the two that you need. I think he's going to be very quick in that Audi, but it's probably going to take a few races to get acclimated because, like you said, it is known for having the rear end step out on you quite a bit out of nowhere, as we see Lightning McQueen going a little sideways there in the background. But yeah, I do like the Audi. It kind of almost feels like the Porsche to me. When I try to step out of my comfort zone, that's actually the first car that I jump to is the Audi. Not really much of a jump there, I guess, but I've always felt like it could be very fast. It is handicapped in some of the longer straightaways, but I think overall it's a very strong car.
Yeah, it definitely is. In the right hands, of course. Preferably not mine. So there we go. We'll put it in my hands. It's probably not going to be as strong. But we've got Brandon Thornhill from White Gold Racing, part of the Black Gold Racing team with Daniel Ricci, and also Dan Pereira and Dylan Gonas are all the White Gold, Black Gold team here this evening. We've got some interesting team names, some that I don't wish to say, but we've got some interesting team names, of course, depending on how we look at the translation of the word here with J Smart on the front window could also mean smart donkey. Now I prefer to say smart donkey racing. I like that one rather than that. What do you reckon?
Well, I think I gotta listen to the boss on this one, to be honest with you. Me personally, I'd call it like it is, but that's your call.
Well, I don't really know. I suppose at the end of the day, it's like Turn 1 at Virginia VIR South. It's an interesting corner name and one that I think you can say due to the fact that it's not given, but I don't really know, to be honest. There's so many rules and regulations, different things. It's very difficult to know what's right and what's wrong. As we go on board with Gabe Burke, the only Mercedes, mind you, in the field is Gabe. He's got a very nice livery on that car, loading the honeycomb field. I think it looks pretty good there, Michael, don't you think?
Yeah, no, I love that look. The green with the black with the honeycombs, like you said. Yeah, definitely looks very sharp, but it looks a lot better when he stays on the pavement. So, ooh, keep it out of him.
No, he did not, unfortunately.
No, he didn't. The Mercedes, that's more your speed.
Hey.
No, I don't mean that in a bad way at all. I mean, that's the car you like to drive, right?
Yeah, it is the car I like to drive.
I don't mean that in any... the
when
Mercedes is a nice car.
When you said speed, I thought you meant you were talking more mobility scooter speed rather than,
No.
GT3.
No, I didn't mean it like that at all.
I do
I'm
like
just
the
simply
Mercedes.
saying.
Yeah, I like the Mercedes. I think if you can get the Mercedes set up right and locked in right, there's a lot you can do with that car. And it kind of matches my heavy-footed driving style. That I do find that even though I am quite heavy-footed on the right foot, it doesn't always spin up for me. I can get it in and out of the corners and do things with it and stuff like that. So I do like it. I should really get back into driving, but I just spend so much time on iRacing in commentating on it that by the time I finish, I'm just like, no. Don't show me another car going around the racetrack. I love what I do and love my job and love everything else, but it's almost like a painter and decorator who never comes home and decorates his own house. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
that's the situation.
You need to have a little bit of a break there.
Or the chef that doesn't cook at home. You know what I mean? that's I've also been in that situation, but at the end of the day, I'm sure I need to get back into it at some point. But when, I don't know. Time-wise, no idea. Do I have time in the day? Probably not. So we'll see how it goes. But I do have a little bit of Lightning McQueen. So Brandon Murray, I applaud you for that Lightning McQueen livery.
I don't think I've seen any of the Cars movies. Obviously familiar with it. I just never sat down and watched any of them. Got his that rear left on the grass there, and that just spun him around. That rear gets very light. It's nice to see a little bit of a change this year. We're very Porsche dominated, but last season was very Ferrari dominated. So at least we're getting a little more of a mixture in.
Yeah, we are. Not by much, but we're getting there. 10 minutes left, I call it. Yeah, I see what you mean. We've got Porsches, BMWs, Lamborghinis, Ferraris. We've got them all. Apart from the Ford. Is the Ford even in iRacing anymore?
Yeah, it's still in iRacing.
Oh.
The Ford GT, the McLaren as well.
Oh, yeah,
they just the 992. They just replaced the 991. They just upgraded it.
Right.
Updated.
So now I sit here patiently and wait for the flip. I guess. Is there a flip, or is there gonna be? We're into another warm up. Why are we into another warm up? Oh, hold on. I'm a little bit confused. There's another warm up.
Well, it is first race of the season, so we're just getting everything kind of ironed out here ourselves. But yeah, this is only a 45, maybe a minute long warm up, I think it was. So we'll be back here momentarily.
A little bit confused, but as I say, first one of the season, so hopefully it will get itself settled down once we've got everything set up correct in the session and all of the other fancy jazz that goes with it. That's going to be the end of that. Right, now we'll wait for the flip and see if I can get the grid. Right, there's the grid. So hopefully we should be good. Right, Brandon Birmingham will lead us off for the first time this season with Brandon Murray in second. Three Brandons there. Brandon 4-0 in third. David Rishi in fourth. Ben Barnes fifth. Gabe Burke sixth. Josh Toothman seventh. Troy Banks eighth. Sean Atkins ninth. James Rep 10th. John Silver 11th. And Daniel Pereira down in 12th place. Dylan Gonaz 13th, Joseph Carnes 14th, Peter Muller 15th, Jay Smart 16th, Matt Miller 17th, Elliot Borg 18th, Nathan Graham 19th, and Yilong Wang is in 20th place. 20 cars will take to this circuit here this evening at what is an absolute incredible circuit, and we start off on the backside here as well. And it's going to be an exciting one. So sit back, guys, get your everything ready, get your drinks, get your popcorn, chill out, and be ready to go, because we are starting off the back, coming down into Sterling's corner before we go down Clearways and then through Clark. So the lights are going to be coming on. Brandon Birmingham, what do you think he's feeling about now, Michael? Because he's on the front of the grid here.
Definitely a little nerves, but he's been in this league long enough. He's a clean driver. He's going to do his best to just kind of get away from the field and get going here, or maybe he's just going to sit here to the side and just let everybody by. That looks like nerves to me, that's for sure.
Yeah, you and me both.
Didn't even want to attempt it there, so that's gonna put Rishi up front there with Barnes and Burke right behind him. And we're gonna have green lights without our front runners.
Right, here we go. The lights are going to be coming on down. And we are away. Daniel Rishi from the Black Gold Racing Team will lead us away round turn 1 with Ben Barnes tucked up right behind it currently at the moment. Gabe in the mix here at the same time. And they are going to be leading away with James Rett and Josh Toothman side by side further back here with Toothman. What is he going to be able to do? He's got James Rett from Hillbilly Racing right beside him, John Silver tucked up on the inside, and he is now taking that 5th place away. Everybody through cleanly. That was a little bit of a shaky start from some there.
Ooh, there's going to be a BMW going across there. We're going to have contact.
Dylan Gomez, I think.
Oh, yeah, it was Dylan. He kind of cuts around, and he found 2 different Porsches there.
Yeah, Gomez into Atkins by the looks of it as well. So unfortunately for him, Dylan Gomez has not started this off well. Hit the grass, and unfortunately for him, he went off. John Silver behind these guys again. James Rett just trying to go up the inside of Burke. Burke's going to hit the grass, manages to hold it. There's a big spinner there as well. Hold your brakes, Mr. BMW. That is Rishi coming out of Dingle Dell, and unfortunately for him, he's had a big off and has hit the wall and has dropped down the order all the way down into 13th place at the moment. John Silver is still side by side here, Michael. Gone up a little bit. Joseph Kahn's been off track. Sean Atkins, Daniel Rishi, of course, as well. Dylan Gomez, and obviously Brandon Brown right at the beginning, and separated the cars there as well on the parade lap, I suppose. I don't know. Something they've got to get used to this format.
It's definitely going to be a challenge. If you're a slower driver, you just don't feel comfortable up front. You got to kind of just go for it. Brandon Thornhill already out of the race. I think he was out of the race at the very beginning. I think he just jumped to the side there and just maybe even went into the pits. I'm not sure, but he was one of our pole sitters up front there. And, I don't want to say pole sitter, but one of the front row sitters there. So that's very interesting. John Silva has been an absolute rocket ship, up 8 spots here, up into the top 3. But I do want to point out 10th and 11th, Wang and Borg, all the way up the field, and 10th and 11th from starting at the very back of the pack. These 2 drivers already have 3 and 2 points, respectively. So they are sitting pretty and just looking for more. So great start there. I was going to say we had a very clean opening first couple turns there. I was very proud of all these drivers getting through, turn 1 there. It just kind of fell apart after that, though. Once they came through Druids, everything just kind of, once they hit the Cooper Straight, it all just kind of fell apart. Yeah.
Sean Atkins not taken here at the start by the looks of it here, and Matt Miller is currently in that middle pack of cars with Miller, Pereira, Miller, Graham, Muller, Yuang and Borg, with Jay Smart further back there as well. Daniel Pereira is currently leading the pack with Miller. He's gone out very wide. Oh, bro. Round 30s, you can't be getting out that wide line. You're going to leave yourself wide open to somebody trying to dive up the inside. And it has allowed Nathan Graham and Matt Miller to run side by side in the Audi and the BMW. They're not going to be able to make it through Hawthorns, are they? They are currently at the moment. What about Miller Straight? They're going to be into Westfield now, still side by side. He's on the outside. Nathan Graham's on the outside. That's going to allow the door open. And that Porsche Peter Muller is going to be looking at jumping up the inside of Dingle Dell. Into Sterling's they go. Wang and Paul, the world almost side by side there, Michael, as well. Very tricky section to run side by side in.
Yeah, everywhere on this track is tricky to run side by side. So seeing all those Porsches just going side by side like that through there, just exciting racing up and down the field. Yeah, you love to see it, especially this early in the season.
Yeah, definitely here as well. And hopefully these battles will continue on up front. We've got John Silver with James Rep. Ben Barnes has opened up a 1.6 second gap at the moment. Stunning job from him. Pereira's just lost a place to Matt Miller with Nathan Graham. Oh! Pereira. No, definitely isn't.
Dan Pereira and Nathan Graham really getting close there. We'll have to see a replay here coming up now. Coming out of Druids, and it looks like, did Nathan get into the back there of Dan?
Yeah, I think it's a tricky one because if it's wet down, let's come back on again though. I think lessons can be learned from both there on that one, because obviously Pereira's gone off track and taken that wide line again. He's come back on. The problem with coming back on is he didn't come on straight almost and left, you know, Nathan Graham kind of know where to go. Brandon Birmingham has also been off and is now down 17 positions at the back end of the grid here. Peter Muller has got Wang right behind him currently at the moment as well. Don't forget there is a pit stop involved in this one. Nothing's changed apart from the qualifying rules, so there will be a pit stop there that the guys will have to make. That will spice things up a little bit. Troy Banks is coming up beside Dan Ricci, and he is running side by side down into turn 1 currently, Michael.
Yeah, we haven't really watched too much of this Lamborghini, so let's go ahead and follow along for a lap here. But definitely a very stable platform, maybe not best suited for a track like Brands Hatch, but he's doing pretty well trying to get himself back up into the top 10 there. Troy Banks, we know, has plenty of speed, but just doesn't seem to want to finish. He wants to just kind of enjoy his time here as we jump up front here. Josh Toothman trying to get around the Mercedes and that Porsche. He's gonna have Miller done, and that's gonna put him on the back of James Rep, and we're gonna see if he's able to. We got 2 wide in the back there right behind. There's 4 Porsches just battling it out there.
3 wide at one point. Be smart. No, not that Dingledale. Not that Dingledale. Oh, he managed to make it. Wang backed out, but that could have been scary for them guys in Dingledale there. 2 wide never normally works. One of them always ends up in a wall. John Silver's just lost that place to James Rep. Josh Toothman still defending from Matt Miller. Borg is still trying to get away from Smart. Silver's in the pits here already. So Silver taking his 1 pit stop, of course, that they do have to make before they can go on to the end, because they're not going to make the end. I'm surprised he's got in the late this early, to be honest.
It does seem a little bit early, but I mean, maybe that's obviously a strategy call. Elliot Borg. Oh! Jay Smart. So frustrating. But that's what's going to happen when you go 2 right around Brands Hatch. There's just not enough room. It's really hard to find a spot to make an overtake. And it looks like, yeah, he just got the inside quarter panel there. He just got the pit maneuver for the Smart Donkey Porsche with the purple rims.
Yeah, I think Wang wasn't expecting him to come back at that angle. It was kind of a carbon copy of the Pereira Graham incident, where you're coming out and then leaving that vortex of terror area as such, aren't you?
Yeah, I feel like we've seen quite a few racing incidents happen so far. So nothing that I would say was blatantly, you know, somebody taking anybody out in any ways. It's mostly just really tough, clean racing here that just got a little too close. But it's been very exciting so far. Barnes out front there with a 3-second gap back to James Rep, so we'll see if James is able to start cutting down on that. James putting in a 124. Toothman and Miller both putting in a 125, mid-125s. So Rep is, while he's still under quite a bit of attack here, he is putting in faster lap times than this group right behind him.
Yeah, and that's Peter Muller there. I thought he was going to send it on Matt Miller. He almost tried, and then the door was open, but Miller exits.
3 wide.
Peter Muller absolutely flying at the moment. Miller, unfortunately, is dropping down the order a little bit here. He's now down into 5th place as they're coming along the Pilgrim's Joint. Under the bridge they go, down once again, coming through Hawthorne now, the right-hander. And now Miller, just for good health, has got Wang right behind him here. not the kind of person you want who is currently sitting with a nearly 6k IR, I'm not going to hazard to say. Considerably more than me.
Just a few points. Yeah, he's our pole sitter for a reason, but I'm starting to wonder. Like I said, I've got very limited seat time in the Porsche, but it almost seems very dominant. You know, last season we saw a very dominant Ferrari field, but the Ferrari wasn't the most dominant car. We just had a bunch of them in the field. If you look at the top 4 there, if you look at the top 6, there's 5 Porsches in the top 6, and Miller is doing everything he can just to hold on there. And then we have Elliott Borg in an Audi, but I mean, the Porsche.
Bro!
What happened?
You
Can't park it.
No, but you can't send it from that far back either. Like, I get the eagerness to try and do something, but you can't park it. Look how far back Muller tried to send that.
And that just ruined Jilin Wang.
Yeah, you can't send it from there. It's like John McEnroe serving from the back of the court. He's sending a ball at you. You can't send it from that far back. It's just, I don't know what you're expecting Toothman to do. He's not Houdini. He can't just disappear. I've got to be honest. You've got to be a little bit more sensible than that. Yeah, we've got 33 minutes here. And at the end of the day, you can't be doing that.
Oh, James Rupp is off!
No,
oh, that's Toothman. That's Toothman.
Yeah, Toothman went on the grass, dingled out. And unfortunately, he is off the track.
And there's a Lamborghini of Troy Banks going off in the background.
It's all going off here now.
Yeah, Toothman just got onto the grass and just had no grip.
Yeah.
And then it looks like Troy Banks just tried to, or he got loose and hit the grass. Oh, he was gone beforehand. So he was on the grass coming through that last turn there.
Yeah. Dingled out, scoops another victim. So there we go. It's a difficult corner. It really is a difficult corner to get right, and at the end of the day, you've got to try and get it right, and it's always going to be difficult with these guys here as well. We're on lap 9 with 32 minutes remaining. There's Troy Banks, Josh Toothman, all involved in it. Always difficult there, Michael, to try and get that corner right. But Matt Miller has got now Peter Muller behind him. So we've got BMW and an Audi in the top 5 separating the Porsches.
Yeah, but we got to realize that that incident there was definitely helped out a little bit. So it's given Mac Miller a little bit of a reprieve here, though. He's starting to really break a little bit of make a little bit of a gap there to Peter Muller. So this might be what Mac Miller needed, was just a little bit of a stress relief, just to be able to put his head down and just put in some laps here. Looks like he's feeling very, very comfortable, very confident at the moment. Elliott Borg coming up from behind there, started way back in 19th position, so he is up 13 spots. Yiling Wang right behind him, our pole sitter, up 14 spots. So these guys have definitely diced through the field, but Yiling Wang's got quite a bit of right front end damage there, so that's probably going to affect him quite a bit. We'll have to see how his race goes. That's definitely going to be affecting him, but it seems like he's holding on right now. He's not losing any downforce in the front end there.
And he's just done the fastest lap of the race on the 123.
Yeah, so maybe that damage isn't as bad as it could be. So maybe he got lucky there. But yeah, it doesn't seem like he's having any issues with the steering column. Everything's pointing in the right direction there. He's got plenty of control coming through. So this is Dingle Dell coming through here in a sheen. It's a blind turn. It's off camber. You go up the hill. If you get off onto the grass, you're done. Then you got to get that all the way back over and then get into the groove for Sterling's. And then you come into another off camber curve here at Clark Curve. This track is just such a challenge. And it's not the longest track. It's not a very big track, but it's a very intricate and unique track.
Lots of undulation, lots of up and down. Miller has there's a lot of everything involved, and watching that's a black gold racing car in that process. That's Brandon Fornell. So,
getting out of the way.
Yeah, Fornell is out on track, but he's just removing himself from the issues. We've lost Banks, we've lost Atkins currently at the moment, and we're on board with Yunong Wang, who is chasing down Elliot Borg currently at the moment. So we're seeing how this one pans out. Wang, of course, involved in Miller at Druids. I'm not going to lie, Miller can't be diving from that far back. That was just a little bit of a, I don't know if that was a heated moment or a rush of blood, but he can't be going from that way that far back, because at the end of the day it will problems like it has done.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you. He's not the one, unfortunately for Wang. He was the one that took the damage there. He was the one that fell back. Peter Muller kind of got away with it a little bit, as we see Jay Smart here having a moment, getting off onto the grass, coming out of Clark Curve. Stay out of the wall, Jay. And he's able to collect it, but that's going to slow him down quite a bit.
Yeah, Brandon
Birmingham.
Another one, look, on the gravel.
Coming up into Sheen there. It's just a blind turn. You know, if you get any sort of oversteer at all, or understeer at all on that turn, you're in the grass. So
yeah, I think
not really much you can do. James Repp having an issue, and
I'm trying to pick up
who was
Ben Barnes?
There we go.
Buckets.
Ooh, that was an interesting little snap there.
Ooh.
Did you see that?
Yeah, snapped in the middle. So unfortunately, Barnes and dropping down the order as well. It's yeah, some drivers have been really struggling on this opening first 17 minutes, as they've got 28 to go, plus a pit stop, of course, that they're not going to make it to the end of this race. I think, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is the first race, new people coming together, new drivers, and everybody's a little bit apprehensive, I suppose, as we saw right at the beginning.
I mean, it is Brands Hatch.
Yeah, but can you really do what was done at the beginning? You know, the qualifying situation they knew about, and then they were going to end up on pole, right? It's part and parcel of it. If you didn't want to be on pole, then obviously go faster to be in the middle of the grid. I get that. But causing a little bit of drama by pulling straight over at the beginning to allow people through is not an ideal scenario. You would have been better off going on the straight and then allowing the people through.
Getting the start out of the way first,
and then moving over, because you've got the whole straight to do it. Doing it on that little part coming through, especially trying to do it off the corner, it seemed a little bit bizarre to me. I'm not sure that would have been the best move.
It's almost the exact opposite of the issue that we thought we might have, is, you know, somebody sandbagging, whereas you have an actual, you know, a driver that's starting at the front of the field because of the grid flip, and they're just trying to get out of the way. It's almost like you need to, I wouldn't say penalize that, but that needs to be frowned upon, in my opinion. I think if you're up front, you need to do your best to, you know, learn from the situation. That's the whole point, you know, of the grid flip, is, you know, getting you that experience, getting the field evened out. I don't blame the drivers for doing that, especially week one. But I think moving forward, I think that's something that needs to be addressed. Maybe not penalty wise, but definitely rule book wise needs to be addressed. I think we don't want to see that. We want to see these drivers, you know, obviously racing as best as they can, as clean as they can, but learning from things. You know, that everybody's here to be as fast as they can, and the only way you can do that is to learn. As Wang gets very close to the rear end of Elliott Borg, he got very wide there. Feeling Wang up into third place, up on the podium, starting from 20th spot. So Dealing Wang definitely has plenty of pace. We jump back to 7th place, Nathan Graham. We haven't talked too much about Nathan.
No, I'm trying to pick up. He's been off track. Coming here onto Graham Hill, he ran wide there and then comes back on as well. But Brandon Fornell has had somewhat of a ta-ta-ta, should we say. Then the BMW on the grass, you go, oh, dude, you are not stopping that. The only thing you can do is hope and pray you missed the wall. You did. Hope and pray you missed that Mercedes. You did. Well done. That Merc there of Gabe Burke probably had a little bit of a moment where he was like, uh-oh, this is going to hurt. And James Rep is being closed down by Matt Miller here, so literally half a second between them currently at the moment here.
Yeah, all Mac Miller needed was a little bit of fresh air in front of him. Battling out with all those Porsches earlier was slowing him down. And now that he's got that freedom, he's jumped up onto the rear end of James Rep here, but they both have to watch out because number 3 and number 4, Wang and Borg, definitely coming for them. There's some very, very, very fast drivers in this field, and they're showing some here at week 1.
Yeah, they definitely are. You can see the lap cars coming up now as well. Silver, Barnes, Birmingham, Smart, Murray, Ford Hill, Banks is already out, Atkins is already out. Jay Smart's not loving that Porsche at the moment. He's been off a few times in it, and unfortunately, it's. I think there's a lot of people that. The thing I'm worried about, right, with this is the fact that obviously Smart was in the Lamborghini last season and absolutely crushed it. Him and Borg smashed it. Dylan Gomez as well. My fear is they've jumped into a car that's brand new, come out last week, and haven't been able to get it, as we see Brandon Birmingham going off as well with a new Porsche, and haven't done the practice.
I think they made contact there, but everybody's coming out all right as Wang goes from 3rd to 2nd past Mac Miller, and that's going to put him up onto the back of James Rep here. James Rep is under a lot of pressure here momentarily.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm just wondering whether or not these guys that have picked the Porsche have had the time in the Porsche to practice the Porsche. Because at the moment, Banks, Atkins, Smart, Toothman, Birmingham and Barnes that are in this Porsche are not anywhere within the race, and I'm just a little bit concerned that they may have picked a car that they're not necessarily capable. Oh, I didn't say capable. I'm not saying capable, but not fully able,
Comfortable with.
Yeah, comfortable with the car at the moment.
I don't disagree with you. I also think that I brought this up to you before the race started. We were talking a little bit. You kind of disagreed with me a little bit. I really do think. Who's that off there?
It's John Silver.
John Silver, what's going on there? But I honestly do think that there's going to be some updates that's going to change the way the Porsche drives. Obviously, there's going to be some balance updates. Ooh, what a save there in the background by Elliott Borg coming up there through Sheen Curve, man. Oh, I don't know if you saw the rear end of that Audi getting loose, but man, he's lucky and very skilled to keep that car underneath of him.
Yeah, it definitely was there as well.
Yeah, I definitely think there's going to be some updates that's going to change the way that the Porsche drives. It's a brand new car. It's only been out a week. You were saying that you don't think it's going to happen until after the season. I honestly feel like they're going to probably have to do a hot fix or two just to kind of get the BOP balanced, and one thing or another that maybe hasn't really reared its head too often yet, as we see Wang just all over the back of James Rep. Mac Miller trying to hold on here. He's going to try to pick up the pieces and get by James Rep if he can, but he's got to watch out for Elliott Borg. Another thing is that we have seen a few cars pit, and these leaders have not pit, so it is going to be a little interesting. But for Silva there, just to kind of pull off to the side, I'm not really sure what's going on there.
We might have some tech issues. We don't obviously know what's going on in the car with the wheel there. But I will say one thing. Wang's going to have to be careful sending it through areas that aren't necessarily ideal. I've got to be honest, there's a couple of times he's been very close to James Webb, and yeah, I'm not quite sure this aggressive nature of this driver is necessarily going to go down well as such, because obviously sending out the inside of places that aren't necessarily too wide, like Dingledale and others, I think you might want to just breathe a little bit here, sir. I know it's the first race of the season and you're getting points on the board, but possibly go for the move on a straight rather than places like this, like that.
What's that? That was net code. There was definitely some netcode there.
There was going to be contact there anyway.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. That definitely.
There was always going to be contact, and I can tell you that now because of the fact that as I was just talking about.
I think I have to disagree with you. I think Ewing.
Watch. Always.
No. I think Wang has been given plenty of space. He's been very aggressive. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to argue about that. He's a very aggressive driver. But I think he was driving very cleanly. I think he was giving plenty of space. And I think that was just a netcode incident there for him and James Rep.
I agree with you there was netcode. But I also received the fact that there was always going to be contact. Regardless of that netcode, there would have been contact. Wang had sent it out the inside on a corner that necessarily I wouldn't have, and I don't think Rep expected him to be coming through either. So,
I think Rep knew he was there the whole time, or maybe not knew he was where he was, but Rep knew that he was coming.
So
it was.
Let's try and let's see if I can get just a little bit behind that here, right?
When you have a driver like Huang right behind you like this, you know he's coming.
Yeah, but watch the fact of James Rep's positioning of his car. He wasn't defending. He wasn't defending the line. I don't think he expected anybody to be coming. And if Wang had kept that in, as it would have been without the netcode, there would have been contact. Just purely because of the nature and the way that Rep's car was going. So, yeah, I think there would have been contact regardless. If that wasn't netcoded, there would have been contact there as well, and Rep would have been round. But at the end of the day, I think you've got to just keep it a little bit under wraps, and I can't see that happening. Nah, Hillbilly just lost the rear. Ryan O'Connery did not lose the rear. It was he was made to lose the rear by netcode of a contact that possibly would have happened anyway.
Ryan, let's get Ryan's opinion. Ryan, have you driven the new Porsche yet? Love to hear Ryan's opinion on this.
There's no point. He's in the Mercedes. I'd be very surprised if he drives it. He drove the Mercedes on Sunday for the Big Dreams Little Voices event. So I'd be very.
Yeah. How did the Big Dreams Little Voices go?
Well, the 2,000 target, £2,000 target, and we raised as of this morning, because we had a couple of donations in overnight, we raised 2,580.
Hey, that's a success, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, so we were basically about £580 above where we set ourselves. However, it was helped by a very mysterious £400 donation from somebody. So, yeah. But we did manage to go through it anyway.
That is absolutely awesome. And then Ryan O'Connor there, new Porsche is incredible. Ryan, I agree with you. I just think there's going to be a BOP balance at some point. That's going to kind of bring it back to life. It seems a little OP as Mac Miller goes off there, giving Jillian Huang the lead, and that's going to be done and dusted, I think.
Yeah, definitely is. I think Mac Miller's touching the grass out of Dingled out, which has scooped quite a lot of victims here this evening, I'm not going to lie.
And he's jumping in the pits. See, I like that. You make the mistake, you go off, you take that time, and you just take your pit. You're going to be losing time. You might as well just lose it all at once. Get rid of the pit stop. I like the move, Mac.
Yeah.
Obviously, you made the mistake, but I like the move to just dump into the pits.
Yeah, I got to fully agree there as well. I think it was a good idea for Matt Miller to be going into the pit. 16 minutes remaining here at this track before the end of the race, and it's been a very interesting one. People in the new Porsche unfortunately not getting on too well with the new Porsche, and J Smart has been one of them that has not been getting on overly well with this new car here this evening. I'll be very surprised. I don't know if they're going to penalise for going back or not, but let's see what happened here as well. Ryan O'Connor, I've seen what you've sent me, and it's still not right. I'm sorry. I've still got to tell you, he was not losing his rear end. It was a big overdose of netcode or contact that would have been coming already.
See, I think that there was nothing wrong with Jillian Huang's aggressive driving there.
Well,
It was aggressive, don't get me wrong, but I didn't find it dirty as yeah.
okay.
He could have backed out of that, James. He could have backed out of that.
Yeah, he in hindsight,
There was room. There was room.
but he shouldn't have had to back out because somebody's entitlement in there feels that they need to send it at a corner that you don't do too well.
I'm not saying that James Rupp needed to was going to back out. I'm saying Wong had room to back out.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't for the net code, like he would have the opportunity to back out. It would have been fine. There would have been space. Not a lot of space, but enough space.
And there would have been contact regardless. I'm sorry, there would have been. There would have been contact. I've seen enough of these to know, hey, what there would have been if there wasn't, if he didn't move out. So I'm sorry, Mr. O'Connor. I don't agree with you that his back end was sliding. He wasn't sliding. It did get a big overdose of netcode in the process. But anyway, moving on before any more conversations kick off up in the booth here. Miller has not gone into the pits as yet and is currently out in front by 24 seconds. Wang has, and has got Elliot Borg a further 4 seconds back from that, with Nathan Graham right behind him here in 6th place as well. So Graham moving through. Daniel Rishi trying to go past currently, that is Ben Barnes in the Porsche and Daniel in the BMW. So these guys are still battling out down the order for 11th and 12th place. Muller's in the pits, and I think that's going to allow Wang to take the lead here, Michael, I believe.
Yeah, that's going to be no question there. Jillian Wang has just been absolutely stunningly fast, and coming around last corner here now, we follow around with Daniel Rishi and the Black Gold Racing BMW. That is the gold, I would assume. Not really the race that Black Gold Racing wanted to have. We've come to expect a little bit more from them, I think, as Elliot Borg jumps into 2nd place behind Wang. So Elliot Borg is able to take advantage there as well. Peter Muller coming out right behind him, though, so that's going to be a nice battle for 2nd and 3rd place there. But I think with 5 seconds up the road and not having to worry about any traffic, I think Jillian Wang is definitely in a great position here with just under 13 minutes to go to pretty much dominate the rest of this race.
Yeah, definitely that as well. And John Silver has been in chat, not in YouTube, in the Discord. You will not imagine what happened. I was racing normally, like I sat on this track, but even so I was, racing. And my brother came to my room and turned off the light. I'm on VR, so you can guess what happened. Everything blacked out, and he couldn't see nothing. So he broke so hard, and he was sat. That's why he was sat at the gravel track there as well. Partly because he couldn't see anything.
So in other words, John Silva is down a brother from now on.
Yeah, I'm guessing there may have been a lot on it. Rep. That's losing the back end. That's losing the back end.
Yes, that is definitely losing the back end there. But I feel like with the 991, he would have been in the wall there.
Yeah.
It just, like, to me, it just feels you're still going to get the Porsche to do Porsche things. It's a Porsche. That's Porsche does Porsche things.
Yeah.
But to me, it is so much more refined. The balance, that tipping point, the edge. You can feel the edge a lot easier with the 992 than the previous Gen 991. And like I said earlier, and I will say this again, I am a horrible, horrible driver. My I rating is below anything. And then B, I have very limited seat time in it. But that being said, the little seat time that I did get to it, it just felt so comfortable. It felt right. It felt like a Porsche is supposed to drive.
Okey-dokey. Well, I'll take your word.
I'm sorry. I rarely, maybe have 45 minutes at max track time, half an hour or something like that. And I fell in love with it, head over heels.
Yeah, well, as I say, it's some people like it, some people love it. not driven it, so I can't really give a comprehensive answer. But you never know. I might adventure. I've got some iRacing dollars. No, somehow. I don't know why.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I would hope that you, of all people, you're always.
I've got some. They've been sat in my wallet for like ever. So well, I think there's like 20. Well, I don't know if I want to check that out on a BMW LMDH.
Oh, okay. So you might want to. Yeah, that would make sense to go for the the LMDH. The Cadillac, I think, would be interesting too.
Yeah, see, I fancy that as well.
I haven't ventured too far into the hypercar realm. I do have the BMW, but I haven't driven it too often. So that is something. If I ever start doing some of the hypercar endurance races that JPB broadcasts, I'm gonna have to get a little more experience on because don't have very much seat time in those cars. They seem very overwhelming to drive.
Yeah, I suppose.
There's just so many different like buttons, and I just feel like they're just complicated. GT3 car, you just get in and go.
Yeah, none of this.
What's going on?
Oh, Birmingham.
That was a great save by Elliot Borg once again, though, to get around that.
Birmingham not doing
Did
so
we see
well.
somebody into the wall right behind us?
Unless that's Toothman coming back again. It is.
Yeah.
Josh Toothman has not been doing so well.
The front right of that Porsche does not look very happy.
Dingle again.
Bam!
Another victim for Dingle.
That's such a tough turn,
Yeah. You
Yeah, coming through the turn.
You get it wrong, and that's how you end up.
Yeah, and it's so easy to get it wrong. Like Paddock Hill, turn 1 is its own doozy, but it just, Dingle Dell just sneaks up on you. You feel like, okay, yeah, sure. I'm gonna drop down out of Hawthorne's, coming into Westfield. You nail Westfield, you're good, you're feeling great, and then all of a sudden it's just a blind turn off camber and you're in the grass. It just lulls you to sleep. You almost forget about it, and then all of a sudden it just bites you.
Yeah, you take too much care of your bounce, and if you don't take enough, you end up on the grass on the outside, and well, we've seen how it's ended up for all of these drivers. 7 minutes remaining here. Borg is out in front at the moment.
Borg is at, whoa, Yiling Huang must have had an incident then. What did we miss up front? It was Huang.
Well, he went into the pits, then he left the pits.
I thought Huang had already pitted though. I'm very confused on how we got this. We missed quite the commotion up front.
With me, I am looking frantically. Wang passed Miller for P1 there, which is what we saw when Miller went off to the grass, right?
Yes, yeah, we saw that. Miller went into the pits immediately after that.
Yeah.
So, and then Wang went into the pits, and Moeller went into the pits, and Peter Moeller and Elliot Borg were right behind each other for second and third place behind Wang in first.
I have no idea. I've got to be honest, there's nothing on there to say Elliot Borg passed Wang.
That is so strange.
He passed Peter Muller.
Because not only did he pass Wang, but he passed Muller and Wang, but Muller got by Wang too.
He passed Muller there. I have nothing after that for what happened up front on who passed who here. It's a little bit worrying, but Elliot Borg is out in front, should we say. Wang is down 5 seconds currently at the moment. So, yeah, well done, Elliot Borg.
That doesn't make any sense because he was just down a second and a half.
The only thing I've got is he's entered the pits. So he's gone back in the pits here. I'm wondering if he's got a drive-through,
Yeah, off tracks. That's probably what it is.
Well, that
looks like he's.
That was a lot of car contact. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, yeah, those 4 X's add up quite a bit. The first incident wasn't his fault. The second incident, he was definitely. Yeah. James will say fully at fault there. So
I will, yes, because I think I think the situation is obviously we followed this for the whole of last season, you know, and we know these guys and we know what it's about. And I think just to come in and have that aggressive. Oh, I've really got to pick my words here because I would really come out and just say, if I'm not going to choose my words, that aggressive entitlement nature where you're sending your car on the inside and you're expecting people to Houdini out is just never going to happen. You know, they're not Harry Potter. They can't just out they go, wave the wand. They are there. You've got to think about what you're doing, and trying to dive down into Sterling's. That's what's going to be the issue. There was always going to be contact, regardless of the netcode. There would have always been contact, and I think that, you know, maybe these guys might look at this scenario and this situation and say, right, we need to back off a little bit with this aggressive nature. It isn't. I know you want to win, and we understand that, but taking people out in the meantime, because obviously he was involved with Jay Smart earlier on in the race as well. Maybe.
See, I like to see the aggressiveness. I like to see the aggressiveness. I don't think it was dirty. I think it was just aggressiveness. I think he's just here week 1, ready to go, and just trying his best to get up front there. And I mean, look, he's already taken. He was 5 seconds back. He's already taken 2.5 seconds out of Peter Muller there. So it's not like, I mean, he's just fast. You can't coach that. He's just fast. And I mean, you call it entitlement, but he was just poking his nose trying to find a spot. I didn't see an issue, too much of an issue with it. I think it could have been cleaner, obviously, but I don't want to punish aggressive driving as long as it's.
I'm not saying punish it. I'm saying think about what you're doing. At the end of the day, you're going down into a tricky left-hander and you're trying to go up the inside of somebody before. You know, there's a straight there. I'm not being rude. You know, there's a straight. Or Surtees or Cooper straight.
I think there's a bit of a mind game involved there that, you know, you kind of want to put as much pressure on the car in front of you as possible. And maybe just sticking your nose up a little bit, just kind of just reminding them, hey, I'm here, you know, just gets in their head a little bit.
I'm pretty sure if he had done that to you, that would not have been your way of thinking.
Well, yeah, because I am too cumbersome to... I would have been in the wall.
If that was you in that car of James Wreck out in front, that would not have been your way of thinking. I can guarantee you that.
I wouldn't be this far up the field.
No, but
even
if he was coming through on the reverse grid from quali and dived you like that and took you out or hit you or whatever.
Of course, I wouldn't be happy with it, but from an outside perspective, as the driver that gets dinged, of course, you're gonna be upset about it. You're gonna want to go see the stewards at the end of the race and say, hey, he hit me.
Well,
from an outside perspective.
No, I don't think like that.
I don't see an issue with the aggressive driving.
Well,
I didn't find it to be overly aggressive. I felt like it was just, you know, hey, I'm here.
Well, we'll see how
don't forget about me. And the netcode kind of backfired. And,
I think we will see how it progresses. So we'll keep an eye on it.
I think you just like to argue with me. I think you just enjoy just finding whatever stance I have and just jumping to the other side of that fence and just lobbing water balloons at me.
Well, water balloons I could probably do. I'm not going to lie. I quite love a good water fight with water balloons. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. And there's nothing more pleasurable than throwing water balloons at your own children. I don't know what it is, but yeah. It was, love a good water fight. Elliot Borg is going to be coming around the final corner here to start the final lap of the race in the Audi. And here he goes now. Barney will be waving, and Elliot Borg is going to take the white flag here at Brands Hatch with Peter Muller in second, Yilang Wang behind, and Nathan Graham in fourth. We'll keep an eye on this here with Peter Muller, and Yilang Wang, who is behind him, is currently 1.2 seconds back and closing him down here. Last lap time, of course, on a 1:23.88, Wang on a 1:23.14, so you might not get close enough to him here, Michael, before the checkered flag comes out.
No, if you're Peter Muller, you just got to keep your head down and punch in another 123, because if you're Wang, you really got to be praying for a mistake here. So, and it looks like he's lost a little bit of time. He's dropped a couple tenths here. So I think Peter Muller is pretty much safe. But that being said, I mean, you never know coming into this part of the track. You never know what's going to happen. So just wait and see. But coming through here into Dingledell now, coming up in the Sheen corner. Everything going well for Peter Muller, but up front there is Elliot Borg, and Elliot Borg is going to be coming through the final turn there. Clark Curve, one last time.
He is. He comes round the final corner. Elliot Borg is going to take the opening race of the season victory here for the LSRL GT3. Elliot Borg in that Audi, Peter Muller in second, and Yilang Wang comes across the line in third place. What is going to be happening here with Dylan Gonaz and Matt Miller? Is Gonaz going to be able to make that move down into Clark for the final time? Two BMWs strooning side together there, almost in unison. Mick Miller, closed up that last corner, tightened up as much as he could. He comes over the line in there as well. So well done to Elliot Borg and Peter Muller, and also Yilang Wang here as well. So congratulations on that 1, 2, 3 for them guys. And yeah, interesting opening race, I think. Maybe a couple of things that should need to be looked at.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a couple things that need to be looked at, but that being said, a few of them at the beginning of the race were definitely racing instruments. Racing instruments.
Racing trumpets.
Yeah, racing guitars. No, racing incidents there for quite a few of those, but things happen. First race of the season, I thought we got started off really well. Things kind of fell apart there, but we started very well as Joseph Carnes decides to have absolute destruction of that car, and that is going to be that. We're going to go ahead and bring up our final results here. Our previous season champion, Elliot Borg, coming through to take the win in week 1 for LSRL GT3. Peter Muller coming through in second place. Yilang Wang, our pole sitter, coming through in third place. Nathan Graham in fourth. Mac Miller in fifth place. Dylan Gonaz in sixth. James Rapp in seventh. Dan Pereira in eighth place. Ben Barnes in ninth place. Gabe Burke 10th. Daniel Rishi in 11th place. Joseph Carnes coming through in 12th. Brandon Birmingham in 13th. Brandon Thornhill in 14th. Josh Toothman in 15th. Jay Smart all the way back in 16th. Brandon Murray in 17th. John Silva also having some issues with the little brother, big brother, and VR goggles in 18th place. Troy Banks in 19th place, and Sean Adkins coming through in 20th place.
Yeah, so there we go. That is the first results here from round 1. And what an interesting round it has been here, as well as Elliot Borg, Peter Muller line up. Unfortunately, Yilang Wang is not there currently at the moment. So we'll see here as well, but let's see if we can have a chat. Let me just pull random people up, as nobody's coming to have a chat with me, so I'm just going to grab people now. Right, come on, you can come and have a conversation. We'll have a chat with your victor here, the man who took the victory in the very first race of this new format. Mr. Elliot Borg, welcome into you, sir.
Thank you. Surprised to find myself being the first interviewed.
Well, you know, I figured I was just going to grab people because nobody come into the interview room, so I was like, right, you'll do.
No, just the fact that, yeah, I was, I think it's Yiling.
Yeah, Yiling.
He's so freaking fast.
Yeah. That did cause a little bit of, if you watch the broadcast back, it did cause a little bit of a conversation between myself and Michael there as well, about certain aspects of that specific driving style that is not something that has normally been seen within the LSRL. that's probably about as polite as I can put that, Elliot. I've got to be honest.
Okay. I mean, obviously, we'll take a look at all of it.
Yeah. Anyway, go.
I didn't see too much issue.
Well, you
but
never.
that's just
You just jump on the other side of the fence. Stop.
I
Stop it.
like seeing aggressive driving.
Well, yeah, but I don't like seeing people being taken out. But anyway, right, Elliot, going back to your race here as well. All right, talk us through the start. There was a little bit of confusion going on at the start of the race.
Right. So anyone that doesn't qualify, we give an EOL. And typically we do a short pace lap. And if that's going to be the case moving forward, we'll probably have to bail on the short pace lap because that was very, very chaotic. But I got to applaud everybody for making it at least part way. You know, we made it through turn 1, I think. It's definitely a neat format to start in the back and try and work your way through. I think you guys could see it. Even with pace that was a second faster, you really, really had to set yourself up for a pass, which is what I think is really enjoyable about racing. So, to me, this is the format. I love it. I think it's great. It's super fun to race with everybody and not.
Sorry, carry on.
No, just to not. The front runner's not going to run away with it. The front runner's got to run through the field, and that's not always going to happen.
Yeah, I think one of the things was off that start, you had the guys at the front moving straight over in the corner. Will there be a change of the rules that says at least get past the start line before you start moving to the side? You know what I mean?
Because you're saying like people were letting others go?
Yeah, people were letting others go straight away coming out of Sterling's, which caused a little bit of a drama moment for everybody else around them, because obviously they're trying to go free wide at that point on a very tight track that doesn't necessarily allow for free wide. Is the rule going to be, okay, if you are up front and you do want to move over, can you at least do it on the start-finish straight to make it a little bit easier? Because the pace lap would have worked, but I think maybe extending to say, look, guys, if you do want to move over because you don't want to be at the front, that's fine. But can you do it in a more suitable position rather than in a corner coming out of Sterling's?
Right. So we did give everyone the option to take an EOL. So the people that didn't will definitely have to watch it. If people don't want to start in the front, they have the option to take an EOL. And I think the fact that we had some guys not qualify, take an EOL, have a short pace lap, it got really rambunctious really quickly because the pace car got away, and our rules state that once the pace car is in the pit lane, the leader can go at any time. So I think, some people took a little bit of advantage of that, and that's fine. It's well within the rules. So, if you're not trying to stretch the rules a little bit, you're not racing to win.
Yeah, no, I fully understand that one, mate, as well. Going forward, are you going out to defend your championship?
I mean, I don't even really care. I just want racing like that. I hope it was enjoyable for you guys. There was some crazy stuff happening. I haven't had a race like that in a very, very long time. So to have guys that we can battle with, go door to door, send some eerie passes. We'll obviously take a look at everything that is brought up. But, to me, that's racing at its finest. I know the fastest guy isn't starting out front, but I hope it provides some more action for you guys.
Yeah, it definitely did. It was an absolutely incredible race. Well, Elliot, thank you so much for joining us there, bud. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Yep, big shout out to my wife for letting me do this. It takes up a fair bit of my time, and I very much appreciate her letting me be a part of a cool community and let me race on Mondays. So look forward to watching the broadcast on Tuesday because you guys always do a great job.
Awesome stuff. Well, thanks so much for joining us there, bud. And we'll look forward to having a catch up with you soon.
Sounds good.
Take care. All right, so there we go. There as well. There's been a few people here as well. I wonder if I can get Mr. J Smart in for a chat. I might have to give him a little bit of a nudge. He's gone on mute at the moment. Mr. Smart, are you there?
Hey there. I didn't realize what was going on.
No, I thought I'd just pull you in here for a chat.
Yeah.
Okay. So, tell us about your race first?
Oh, where to start?
Well, you got
I don't
caught
know.
up in an incident to begin with, didn't you?
Yeah, honestly it was pretty tricky because I think everyone's pace was all over the place, and with different cars, obviously everyone has different braking points. So the first contact that I had made, which I haven't really looked back at it, but I think it was my fault. Somehow hit. I don't know who the driver was, but somehow hit him in an attempt to not hit him. Like I was intentionally like I broke early and tried to give space, and somehow we still made contact. And then the one after that, where I got taken out, I obviously got hit from the rear, but I kind of, I almost had an incident with Elliott. I think that like propagated rearward and probably just messed up the rest of the field. And that again was his braking point was just way earlier than mine. Probably given the different cars, and I wasn't even watching his brake lights and almost ran into the back of him. So then had to kind of evade him. And then took that hairpin really, really slow, and I think just backed up the rest of the field from that. So, yeah, not happy with that race, but GT3 is not really my strongest category. So
Strongest discipline.
hopefully get better in the next one.
Yeah, I'm sure you will, Jay, as well. What's the aspirations going forward, Jay? What are we planning to see from you?
I think just having good racing. It's going to be pretty hard, I think, to stay competitive with trying to be competitive in the F1 league as well. Kind of the same reason Elliott decided to not race in that one. With only 2 nights between them, it's pretty hard to practice for both. But yeah, hopefully I can be up in the top 5. Probably consider this a drop week, and yeah, just hopefully have some good racing. I mean, it's definitely exciting with the reverse format trying to fight through the field. So I think that's that makes the racing a lot better, but it's also really, really difficult because I think everyone's driving styles and everything are just so varied throughout the entire field that it made it a pretty new, difficult challenge, I'd say.
Definitely did as well. And I think it's going to be an interesting season as it goes on there, Jay. Thanks so much for joining us, bud. Anyone you shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, great pace to Elliott Ewing, and who was third? Was it Peter Muller?
Yeah, Peter Muller.
No, it was the other way around. It was Muller was in second.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh wow, yeah, great pace to all of them. Definitely a big thanks to the admins that have kind of set up a really good format for this season. So I think that's going to be exciting going forward, and then of course you guys as well for putting on the broadcast.
Well, Jay, thank you so much for joining us, bud, and we look forward to catching up with you and having a chat with you soon, no doubt.
Yep, hopefully we'll talk Wednesday night, but we'll see.
Man, take care.
See ya.
Bye. Well, there you go, Michael. That is... Oh, hold on. Nope, I've sent Michael down into the wrong chat. There we go. He is back in the booth with me after I put him into with the drivers. That would have been an interesting one. Right, Michael, sum it up for us in one sentence. Go for it.
I thought it was a great race, and I'm very excited to see the rest of the season.
Well, there you go, guys, as well. So that brings us to the end of this broadcast. I am off to do another one in about an hour and a half's time. So if you do fancy sitting back or watching some ACC GT3 action from Kyle Army, get yourself involved and come and jump in chat. But for now, guys, from myself here up in the booth and Michael David, as always, take care, have a great week, and you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.